morning to all. Today we are here to discuss about free electron gas in metals. So we'll be mainly addressing on the specific heat of a metal, because when you discuss about free electron of gas in metal, there will be another aspect also, that is about the conductivity of the electrons in a metal. Okay, so we are not dealing with that. We are detailing the specific heat capacity. So we already are discussed about specific heat capacity in the terms of lattice vibration. There we have seen three theories. One is the classical theory, one is the quantum theory on Einstein, then finally we have discussed about Debye theory on lattice vibration case. Okay, and we said that the specific heat capacity has two contribution, one from the lattice vibration due to positive ion cores, and free electrons also contributing the specific heat capacity due to the free electron motion present in the metal. Okay, now here we have a metal sheet which having a lot of free electrons which are moving on that, because metals are abundant of free electron, that's why it's more conductive, as we already know. And Drude and Lorentz model is a classical model which explain the specific heat capacity and conductivity of electrons in a free free electrons in a metal. Okay, so he has explained the classical aspect where we consider the electron gas as a driven damped harmonic oscillators. Okay, and he also said that there are large number of free electrons are present in the metal, and the resistivity of the conductor in terms of is due to the scattering of electrons within the metal. So the resistance arising in the flow of electron is due to the scattering of electron on different point. So that's why we have the resistance is arising. So these are the few contributions from the Drude side, but the Drude-Lorentz model could not properly address the drop two aspect of this one. The first of all, he could not account the experimentally, if you calculate the specific heat capacity by using classical Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, we could not find any contribution from the free electrons. Okay, we only see that the lattice vibration only contributing toward the CV. That's what we have experimentally observed, and CV will be equal to, we know that by equipartition theorem, 3 by 2 and kBT is for the total energy for a single particle with 3 dimension. Okay, for an n particle for 3 dimension, and here we know CV will be equal to dou U by dou T, specific capacity at constant temperature, which is equal to 3 n kb. Okay, that is dou U by dou T. Okay, for a single particle, that is n equal to 1, CV will be equal to 3 kb, that is already we know that. Okay, the first drawback of this Drude-Lorentz model, it can be assessed that the experimental CV only found the contribution of lattice vibration. There was no contribution of free electron, could not find in that case. And another one, the Drude model cannot account the temperature dependence on resistivity. Okay, so you could not account the temperature depends on resistivity. Anyway, that is not our discussion of interest for today, so we are not dealing in much detail about that. And but the next one, the free electron case, which is actually behaving as paramagnetic in a metal. Okay, and the intrinsic magnetic momentum also associated with the each free electron. Okay, so if it is paramagnetic, we know that the uh, susceptibility will be equal to n mu effective square divided by kT, and the susceptibility is inversely proportional to temperature. Okay, so this is a theoretical aspect, we know that, but when you experimentally evaluate the susceptibility, we found it that the susceptibility is independent of the temperature. That means it is the observed susceptibility value is 1% of the theoretical value. And similarly, we also find the specific heat capacity also found to be 1% of the theoretical value that is we have obtained. Okay, so the experimental observation is so different when you account the Drude-Lorentz model. So you could not properly address the specific heat capacity aspect, and especially the thermal conductivity and electrical conductivity with respect to temperature, he could not account properly by Drude-Lorentz model. Okay, then later the Sommerfeld has been introduced in order to resolve this issue. He has introduced a theory which we call it as Sommerfeld theory. So what he had done is that he has replaced the classical uh, context into quantum mechanical context, and he also replaced the Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics addressing into Fermi-Dirac distribution. Now we know that in order to deal with electrons are fermions, we have to address by using Fermi-Dirac statistics. Okay, that will be more appropriate when you're dealing with the electron case. For that, what I do here is that I will take a typical uh, sodium atom. Okay, so which having the Fermi energy, we know that the Fermi energy has an equation 3n by 4 pi GeV raised to 2 by 3 h square by 2 by 2m is the equation corresponding to the Fermi energy, and we know that electron having the J equal to half and the degeneracy G equal to 2. Now we can substitute G equal to 2 over this equation. Okay, and now let me come back to that. The number density, the total number of particles with respect to volume, which is equal to Ne Na by A cube, where Ne is the number of conduction electrons per atom and Na is the number of atom per unit cell. Okay, and where A is the lattice parameter, so the volume will be, for a cubic case, the volume A cube is the volume of for the crystal structure. Okay, now if I substitute for a sodium case, Ne equal to 1, number of conduction electron is 1, number of atom per unit cell is 2, and the mass of the electron is 0.98 sorry, mass of the atom is 0.98 into Me. Okay, so in that situation, the Fermi energy is found to be, the Fermi energy of the sodium is found to be close to 3.14 electron volt. So that is the value for obtaining for the sodium. Now if you evaluate the Fermi temperature, okay, we know that Fermi energy is equal to Kb into Tf, where Tf is the Fermi temperature, Kb is the Boltzmann constant. Okay, and Tf is equal to what? Epsilon F by Kb from this equation. So when you evaluate the Fermi temperature is found to be 3.64 into 10 raised to 4 Kelvin, that will be obtained for the Fermi temperature for this case. Okay, now at room temperature, when you evaluate this one, the room temperature will be having T will be equal to 3 into 10 raised to 2. That means there is an order difference of 10 raised to 2 order between the Fermi temperature and the room temperature situation. Okay, 3 into 10 raised to 2 means what? It is 300 Kelvin. Okay, so now you can easily correlate what I mentioned. Now we know that the Fermi temperature, from this representation one could see that the Fermi temperature is very greater than compared to the room temperature situation. Okay, so that is the one aspect we could find it out. This is due to, when you consider the sodium atom, conduction electron in sodium atom, we have to address also the degeneracy, because it is highly degenerate in these free electrons are highly degenerative. That's why this difference in Fermi temperature and room temperature difference will be occurring in the sodium atom especially. Okay, so such kind of contradiction between the free electron case is arising due to the degeneracy of this electron. Okay, now we need to account this degeneracy, that because in normal metal, so before that, normal metal, we know that the Fermi temperature will be approximately equal to 10 raised to 4 K, that's all we have seen, or rather 10 raised to 5 Kelvin. Okay, so the Sommerfeld has been explained that when you account the free electrons in a metal, we also need to account the degeneracy of such a free electron present in the metal. Then only you can properly address the specific heat capacity of a particular metal here. Okay, so the CV in that aspect, pi square by nk by 2 kt by f will be the value, and pi square by 2 into n into t by tf will be the corresponding CV representation in Sommerfeld theory. From this representation, we will be getting that CV is proportional to temperature. CV is proportional to temperature, you can see that. So that is T by Tf, if you evaluate this ratio, if you evaluate, that is equal to 10 raised to minus 2. Because we already know that it is 10 raised to 2 for room temperature, and Tf is 10 raised to 4, and that is 10 raised to minus 2 is the difference between these two. Okay. So this difference is what, when you aspect, this is small, the change is comparably very small, right? 0.001. Okay, so that is a change that you can see. But the Cv from this equation will get that Cv is proportional to what? The temperature of, this is the Fermi temperature, this is the temperature of the system that is we are giving, heating or cooling or something. Okay, so that is the temperature. It's the variable temperature is T, and Fermi temperature is fixed for. Okay, so we see that for a free electron case, the Cv, the specific heat capacity, is proportional to temperature. Okay, so that was we obtaining here, and we know that the Cv for a contribution of conduction electrons, okay, the contribution of conduction electrons towards specific heat capacity is small, and the vibrational mode of lattice, that means the lattice vibration, is contributing more towards the specific heat capacity. How do I say that? Because we know that the lattice vibration is large, because the due to the Cv due to lattice, it is proportional to T cube, which we already have seen due to Debye theory. Okay, and free electron gas, for a free electron gas, compared with the contribution is small, because Cv is proportional to T. So by considering this, one can say that the contribution is less from free electron compared to the lattice vibration contribution towards specific heat capacity. Okay, so if I combine the overall Cv representation by considering the contribution of free electron and temperature, which I can either represent as gamma T plus delta T cube. So where T cube is a contribution from the lattice, and where T is a contribution from free electrons. Okay, and this representation also you can see in many fashion in textbooks, that is Cv equal to AT plus BT cube, and Cv equal to alpha T plus beta T cube, where alpha, beta, or A or B, anyone is a coefficient, that is, or constant, that is associated with the temperature notation. Okay, now if I want to find the value of gamma or delta, so for that, let me just divide Cv by T. So that is Cv by T equal to gamma plus delta T square. Now if I plot this graph, that is Cv by T with respect to T square, if I plot, then the intercept will be giving the value for gamma, and the slope will be giving the value for delta for me. Okay, and likewise I can identify the value of gamma and delta from this particular equation. Okay, clear? So what, and this theory, what I said, that this is actually this particular relation Cv equal to gamma T plus delta T square, this relation is experimentally and theoretically valid, uh, found to be verified by using Fermi-Dirac distribution in theoretical aspect. Okay, so this kind of relation we able to find by from the free electron contribution and from the lattice vibration contribution towards the specific heat capacity, so that we able to find it out by using this Sommerfeld theory as well. Now into details of Sommerfeld theory, it is actually a microscopic free electron theory explained by Sommerfeld theory. So he has said that free electron move with a constant potential and which obey quantum mechanical law, and he also imposed that into the Fermi-Dirac statistics is following by the free electrons, since it's a fermions. And also he said that free electrons move in a periodic potential, where the potential is breaking at the point where it is actually, it's a lattice sites, it is the period, different periods that is associated with that. Okay, so Sommerfeld able to successfully explain the contribution of free electron towards specific heat capacity, like Debye has been successfully explained the contribution of lattice vibration towards the specific heat capacity even at low and high temperature situation. Okay, so that's all about the discussion of ideal Fermi system and free electron gas in metal, and with that we came to an end of the module 5 on statistical mechanics. It's about ideal Fermi system. Okay, thanks for listening.